I'm excited. I'm very excited. So these guys here, these Orgoth, I was able to really get most of the grunt work done. But the fun part about painting models is finishing them up. Still got a little bit of gross painting to do before I get to all the fine. And really what I haven't done is I haven't done the flesh. So, what kind of flesh do I want to give these guys? I've got all different kinds of colors. I could choose kind of peachy colors. This here is a new kind of paint I haven't tried yet. Master Series Paint Core Colors Aged Bone. I'm wondering if this is something I want. I think these guys probably have some kind of a lighter complexion. So I'm going to go and see if this works. I hope it's viscous enough for my purposes. And then what I'm hoping is by the end of today, I can actually get into some of the cool things like dry brushing and basing. What I usually do with a figure, here's an example. This is a Circle Ouroboros unit. I like to have a distinctive ground for all the units. So this, for example, this guy here, he's got a reddish soil that I got from a little place near the university over here. And I basically dug it off a hillside. Some of the other ones have other dirt. For example, this is a player model. Actually, that's a active player model in one of my games. This sand right here came from Kanaha Beach Park. So it's a very, very light colored sand. I took a blending of those two sands to make this one. He's part of that red dirt that I had before and part of that Kanaha sand. So when I think about these Orgoth, they're kind of dark, they're kind of gloomy and evil looking, so I think maybe they deserve a darker sand. So I've got a sand that I got from, let me get that for us. Check this stuff out. This is sand I got from Kahului Harbor over here on Maui. And it's a real dark stuff. Really, really dark. So I'm thinking that's a good base if I ever get to that basing part. I might not get there today. And then last but not least, something I sometimes like to do, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but for example, if you take a look at this model, there's little jewels on them. I like to work with Swarovski crystals. So here is some crystals I got for these Orgoth. Because their color theme is kind of a greenish, yellowish thing, I'm thinking we're gonna go with this green hue here. This package was maybe about 12 bucks. You can get different assortments from a craft store. The thing about a crystal, there's a couple things. One is it kind of makes a bling so you can see the unit from across the room or the model. But the other thing is a tiny bit of super glue will destroy that beautiful shine on the front side. So you want to be careful when you affix the jewels onto the model. You want to do it at the last step, just before the model is going to be complete. These guys here, I'm not going to do a final kind of shellac coat on them, because remember, these guys, most of them are wibbly wobblies, right? I mean, the thing wobbles. So I don't really need it, and I'm afraid that it would make a rigid thing that would crack or peel. I could be wrong. So we're going to go ahead and start painting these guys and getting them completed. First, you got to shake. Shake, shake, shake. So this color here, Aged Bone, this is going to be the color for all of their faces and flesh and all that. And as I think about that, I think I'm jumping the gun, because I also want to make their open mouths. This color right here is Carnal Pink. Privateer Press has some pretty silly names for their stuff. Amusing names, I appreciate their humor. So I think I'm going to put the mouths where the mouths are open first, and then I'll come back over and I'll paint the flesh around each one of these models. So here I got my caramel paint going. Is it good enough? Yeah, nice. Okay, I'll go through. So this guy here, he's got an open mouth. Oh, I'm seeing a problem there with my brush. That can't work with that brush. The problem is it had two little splines sticking out. I don't know if this one's fine enough either. I'll try. Yeah, I've got a problem. I don't have a brush fine enough to do this task. So what to do? Quickly, I gotta mod this so that I don't have that piece hanging off of it that's preventing me from getting the accurate paint on. So I'm gonna basically cut this brush. There. Now let's see if I can get that accurate paint on. There we go. We got it essentially in his mouth area. Okay. We'll go through each one and see if they've got a mouth. No. His mouth is slightly open, so I can give him a little something on his mouth. Anyone else have an open mouth? No. This one, no. No, helmeted. And let's look at the women. No open mouth. Nope. And no. Okay. Well, I certainly have one brush I know that's going to work. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start laying on some of that flesh. Put some in a little container right here. Oh, I like the way that came out. That's nice and viscous. That'll work. Too fluid and it'll drool and dribble everywhere. So now let's get those beautiful Orgoth ladies their flesh. Erotic City. All right.
Something I'm not for your crystals there, Nikan.
Oh, nice. Thank you for that. A little tweezer action there. Always helpful. She's basically just got her forearms maybe here. And her lovely face and her bodice. That's her face. Got to be real careful with these faces because what happens is you can quickly accumulate enough paint where you're kind of obscuring their delicate features. And you don't want to get to that point. So really you want to get this in one coat if you can. The secret to acrylic painting, if you haven't guessed already, is you can keep painting again and again and again until you get it right, which is kind of nice. It's a very forgiving medium if you're willing to go back over it. And really, the quality of the figure you wind up with is going to be directly related to how many times you want to go over it until you like it. So you can produce a mini in a pretty short amount of time, but to get all the little bells and whistles that really make it pop, it takes some time. So here she's got her flesh. Oh, I like the way she's looking. Okay. There's one war witch. All done. So looking at this war witch, she's got these long, kind of trailing garments. And she's not too much exposed flesh here, except I do see a bodice. Ooh, it's like a little top. So we'll make her have a belly button and exposed midriff. I used to see these old Dungeons and Dragons character illustrations of like female fighters. So they'd have like the female fighter with nothing but a chainmail bikini on and a chainmail top, and that would say be considered like having a full set of chain armor, just because it's a bunch of guys playing often and they like the way that looked. But yeah, a little bit of skin is always nice. I'm going to get the cleavage very carefully down in there. Whoop, I went a little too far. A little too far there. Oh, actually it kind of looks nice. Get her shoulders. I wouldn't be able to do any of this if I hadn't modded this brush, because basically you just need a really little fine brush. Sometimes I do toothpicks too. Those can work well for really, really small things like eyeballs. I'll show you how I do eyes in a minute when I get to that part of this. First, of course, I gotta let this face dry and not get all peaked up. Okay, so I'm looking there. Looks like she actually has some kind of pants on. I'm looking at her. I thought it was bare flesh, but it's not. See, is there any part where there is bare flesh down there? No. Okay. She's actually more demure than I had originally thought. Spike heels, all that. All right. Of course, rotate the model to get all those little unforeseen pukas. Back of the hand. All right. Okay, so there's another Orgoth War Witch. Oh, I'm liking the way they're turning out. All right, then we got one more female. This one's got the most bling and stuff coming off her. I guess she might be the boss of the War Witches. She's got all kinds of weird talismans and horn things sticking up. Get her going. And similar to the other Orgoth, I guess she doesn't really show much leg. I was anticipating these long, kind of leggy, creamy thighs, but that's not really what the figure is when I look carefully at it. So I had to change my plans just now. And that's okay too. I'm wondering what color to make their hair too. I'm thinking about that. Because if I make their hair black, it's going to be kind of anticlimactic. It's basically going to be like, okay, well, they have black clothes and yellow black hair, and it might seem, yeah, thinking something else other than black. Maybe different colors. Since these are kind of like evil Vikings, or, yeah, kind of like that. That's why I went with a lighter skin tone. I like to make characters of all different races and fantasy races and skin tones. I like to make like people with really dark brown skin, people with light skin, people with reddish skin, people with freckles. You know, try to make everything different kind of on a cultural level or ethnic level. Because that's fun to me. All right, wow, she really doesn't have much skin. Let's see, oh, is it a hand? Yeah. Oh, wow, okay. Oh, I'm excited now. All right, okay, so there's the War Witches. That was quicker than I thought it would be. Okay, so now I gotta get the guys. So I already went in there and I got the pink in their mouths, right? So now I got to get all the rest of the areas so that they have flesh, the Fleisch, weiße Fleisch, light-colored flesh.
When you finish a segment with one, give it a little more time
Oh, sure. This guy, I think he's got like the Friar Tuck thing going on. He's got like a little patch of hair around the back of his head, kind of like my dad had. Top of his head was bald, but he had the fringe of hair. I think that's what's going on with this guy. A little bit at the bottom. So now I'm glad I went over that with the pink because I can get all around the edges, fix it up, and have accuracy. So now that I did that, I look at his hands. His hands appear to be gloved. I'm seeing gloves when I look at that. So I'm thinking, I think I want to make it flesh. Even though it looks like it might be gloves, I think I'm going to go with flesh on it to give a little bit more, less of a fightery feel to him and more of like a magician feel. So yeah, I'm going to make sure his hands turn into flesh, away from the gloves that they originally were. When I first started seeing these models come out and be made out of this kind of wibbly wobbly, flippish, these plastics that can bend, I thought, oh great, why am I going to want to paint that? But actually, it works well. Just if it's flippy, you don't prime it. Just remember that. No priming on a bendy type model, and you'll be fine. Yeah, okay, I'm glad I went with the hand. The hand gives a little bit more dimension and differentiation from the relentless gray of the rest of the model. Oh yeah, I'm happy I went with hands. Like in modeling, I guess, you'll notice models, they always try and, like if they're modeling a set of clothing or something and they stick their hand in their pocket, they'll always show you their thumb. And the reason they got the thumb sticking out is to show you, hey, I have a hand. Really, honestly, I do. So that's kind of the reason why I went with that. Oh, yes. So there's the Soul Reaper. He's getting towards being closer to done. And now I get to go to this guy with the crazy face shield. He really doesn't have much exposed flesh, but I think I'm going to give him a hand too, for that nice contrast. All right, there's one hand. Looking all the way around it, but I gotta get it in there a little bit more. Good. All right. Over here a little bit more. Yep. Okay. And then I'm going to flip him over. The hand that's holding the shield up, I can see it from a tiny little angle in there. So I really got to get that too. Just to be thorough. Without touching anything else. This is like playing that game Operation when you're a kid. And you're trying to get the organ out, and if you don't do it right, it goes, eh. Yeah, that's how I feel with this thing. Alright, yes. Hands. And now, the face. Get that face in there. Now, just like there are washes, like the metal wash I put on these guys last time, there's also washes for the face. The funny thing is that each company's face wash is radically different. Like the ones I have, one of them I don't use because it's so yellow it makes them look like they're, I don't know, jaundiced or something. And then what I found is you can have success with things that were designed for like brown washes and just dilute them a little bit for the face. So I'm going to get under there, get his eyes. Oh boy, oh boy. Wow, I'm liking the way he's looking. He's looking really... So there he is. Oh, I got a little bit more black there. Paint. All right. Yeah. So there he is. All right. I look for other things that have flesh. He's got a hand. I can show that he's actually a human underneath all that crazy other stuff. So yes, I'll make him have hands. That way people can see he is of flesh and blood. And of course, as you can see, I'm lazy. I'll do everything in one batch. So basically all their hands get done now, right? Then I move on to the next. That's how I pattern and get more figures done. I just try and keep to the same color until they're all, everything in the assembly line is completed. Up, and I also see, just like the other guy, he's got a hand behind that shield, gripping the shield, so it's time to play Operation again. Down in there. Alright, that's done. See his little hand in there? How to get that? Okay. Yay! One more. Okay, this guy, this flagellator dude, I'm going to give him a hand too. Because it's just nice to see. Ooh, wait a second. Let me see. Oh, I don't know. That's not going to be convincing as an arm. I got to give him a glove. It's so glovish, I can't get away with it not being a glove. Alright, so he gets gloves. I have to get back to him. This guy, it's also too glovish. So he's not going to have any flesh anywhere. Oh dear. Oh, that's the way it is. This guy, he's got to be gloved too. The hands are just too big. It won't be convincing if I do it. It'll make it look like he's got some kind of elephantiasis of the hand or something. If I try and give him natural hands, they're like, oh my gosh, what large hands you have. I'll bet you to grip you with. One thing that amuses me about these models is the exaggerations. Like, some of them, I mean, come on. Take a look at this guy. That sword, is he trying to compensate for something? I don't know. Alright, I love it when I can give them a hand. Let's give the guy a hand. And he's got a gripped fist. His clenched fist. I am liking this new brand of paint. This is good stuff. So again, I'm using Aged Bone from MSP Core Colors Master Series paint. I'm going to remember that. Good stuff. I'm having trouble understanding what his face is. Wow, it's like almost all this big fat mask. Okay, so I got to reach inside there and give him flesh around his eyes. Okay, one. Two, okay. And then down here where his mouth is there any, gosh, he's like so well armored. A tiny bit of chin, perhaps. Right in there. Wow. He's not a nice customer. This is a guy with difficult to meet needs. Charles Manson, I heard, had difficult to meet needs. Okay. Here. A man with difficult to meet needs. He is this guy, this guy. Okay, now I have to go back to those guys that needed gloves. Because, yeah, before I forget. Find a good, nice, light glove color. Blood Tracker Brown. Yeah, I can give those guys gloves that. And it's a lighter brown, so it's not going to be exactly the same color as the handle of his weapon. This is a Privateer Press paint, Blood Tracker Brown, one of my favorites. I do like the Privateer Press P3 line as well. Very nice paint. Nice viscosity, nice cover. You can do it once and be done. Okay. Glove. So this glove kind of starts a ways down the hand. So I'll work my way up and over. Yes. Oh yes, I like the way that looks. I'm liking this little brush mod I made. This little brush is working out really nice. What I'm excited about too is in 2 weeks, my players in my game are going to be fighting these guys. So I'll be able to field these guys. And something I do in the games too is I'll have, like, if I don't have enough figures, I'll use something similar to the figure for the units that are farther away. And then at least have representative models like these here to show what the foes actually look like. Oh yeah, okay. So now I gotta get this other glove. So the players get to experience these guys. My thought on these guys is their main power is the War Witches have got some ability to support them, and then they're just really good shield fighters. When they're close to one another, they are difficult to break. Their shield wall is difficult to break, and they're used to fighting close up and using their superior strength and size to smash relentlessly at their enemies and break their lines and carve them up. All right. He is done for the glove. Remember, this guy had a glove too, I think. Yeah, he has got a glove too. So I'm not sure I'm going to get to the basing today, but I want to take this whole demonstration through every bit of the whole process. So we might not get to basing all the models today because of all the different details we got to do, but we will finish them all up, even through basing them, jeweling them, the final considerations like eyeballs and stuff. We'll see how far we get. Okay, and there's the hand hiding behind the shield, holding up the shield. All right, and the back of the hand. Figure I won't paint the vambraces or anything because that wouldn't be leather. Oh yes, very nice. Okay. I'm happy with that. And now the last ridiculous ogre-like fellow. He needs gloves too. This guy's going to have some like trapped souls inside his sword. Little horrible screaming souls. and on his body. I was thinking about how to model those. How do I show in the figure that these evil, soul-sucking Viking guys have actual souls in their armor and weapons? So I was thinking of ways to do it, and I got my plan. I think what's going to happen is their eyeballs are going to be like a kind of pale, glowy green thing, and then their surrounding metal will shine with kind of a metal shine. Let's see how that works. All right, so we got one glove happening. Okay. All right, there's one glove. I'm gonna finish all these little organic glove parts. And then, so that I don't get it ruined, I'm gonna have to take a quick break shortly. A little bit more. Because after this, I get to do the fun stuff of dry brushing. Except for one last detail, which I was thinking about. One last thing before I have to stop for a minute and let this dry up slightly. All right. So when I look at this guy, his armor and his weapon are all the same. I don't have to do that. I can make his weapon chains something a little different. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to use a funky, cool color, if I can find it. Here we go. Really kind of, well, they call it deathless metal, but this is another P3 product. This is kind of like a bronzy sort of effect, an aged bronze. I figure I can put that on his chain, and it'll make the chain kind of pop out and be different from the rest of him. Add a little bit more of that bling effect. Just his chain. I'm going to yank his chain here. All right. And again, that's making that nice kind of brownish theme, which I want. Oh yeah, okay, I'm happy I did that. Makes him considerably, slightly different. A little bit more pigment on there. Now, one thing I must advise, I get so excited and wrapped up in this. One of my biggest problems is I'll keep painting when I really need to take a short break and let the stuff dry. So I'm going to be back in 5 minutes when this stuff should have a nice chance to harden slightly so I don't ruin it by touching it. Back in 5. And hopefully this stuff is a little bit more dry. So before this paint gets too hard, I'm going to get a little bit more of this on there. So you need a little more, just a little bit more. Alright, she's good. Just going over the hands and things one last time. Make sure they're all good to go. Alright. It's hot mamas. Right here. Okay. So now I am going to add some details. And I'm thinking probably what I want to do is cement this guy's shield onto him. I notice I have a little holiday here, so I have to quickly take care of that. A little bit of this very cheap black. This right here is basically I got like all three of these things for 10 bucks. They're the cheapest acrylics you can get, but they're not too bad. Probably the worst acrylic paint you could get. It still works. But it's this, sorry, Pinelli brand. Just because it takes a whole bunch of different layers to cover it, and it takes forever to dry. That's one thing I noticed. The better paints, they dry quicker. It's funny. All right, there's that holiday, all taken care of. Now I gotta stick a shield on him. So before I do that, I gotta think, okay, what am I gonna do before? There's all these different skulls. So I decided, I guess I'm going to do skull faces. All the places in these guys' armor. So we're going to make a creepy kind of greenish glow thing. And this cheap paint right here has got a nice kind of horrible viridianness to it. So I'm just going to use that straight. I'm wondering if I want to do anything else that maybe a little tiny bit of white. Yeah, that'll make it pop and make it even more creepy. So, all right, let's do this. Get this mixed in with a little bit of a fatter brush. And I'm going to make the Soul Glow color. Soul Train is coming. Get this thing mixed in. White is an amazing thing because it takes more of it to do something, usually, but then sometimes a little bit of white can make dramatic changes that you weren't prepared for. So a little bit of white to make this lighter. Let's see what I get when I do that. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Something a little bit lighter and more horrible. And so that's what I'm going to work with. Okay. So now I'm really not dealing with total accuracy anymore. I'm going to do something that's called it's like a glow effect. So there's splashes of glow effect that are outside the area of glow. So I don't have to totally be accurate, although of course I do want to be fairly accurate. So I'm going to switch out for the smaller brush. And I'm going to start getting this soul glow in there. The horrible fate to be trapped forever in an Orgoth armor. That's one eyeball, two eyeballs. Yeah, I'm glad that I lightened it up. It actually might be able to use a little bit more lightening because it's still kind of dark. But nah, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. Get all those eyeballs to glow. Got another kneecap over there. Nope. Looking for every single little face. Oh, I see a tiny little skull over here. Get his eyes to glow. Get those again, that's the primary eyeball thing. Okay, any more eyeballs? No. Looking on the back. Ooh, big shoulder eyeballs. I almost missed those eyeballs. Gotta catch them all, just like Pokemon. Alright, there's that. Oh, yes. Glowing eyeballs of doom. Everything is better if it's of doom. You know, the stairwell or the stairwell of doom. I'll take the latter. Thank you very much. Alright. Scary, creepy, glowy stuff. Oh, and then his sword. Well, his sword is imbued with many different little horrible things. So when I look at the sword, I see, oh my gosh, it's got all these little rune things in there. I got a problem. If I paint on there directly, it's going to go all over everything, and it's not going to make the effect I want. I'm going to make a little mini wash on the side. Put a bunch of water in there, swizzle it around, and I'm going to just kind of wash down there. Wash it in there. And 1 0 nap wipe. See if I can make that work. What I just did is basically I wiped off whatever was on a thing that was sticking out. So now I've got a little tiny effect now where I can actually see runes on his sword. I'm going to do the same thing in the back here. It's kind of an in-between a wash and actual paint. You get that all the way down and then wipe it. Why am I using my hands? Because my hands have 0 nap. You know, nap is like the thickness of a roller, right? So my hand really doesn't have any nap. And I just love to play with paint. Yeah. Okay, few more of those things. All right, now I've got the effect I want of the glowy sword. Glowing with that green, horrible soul glow. I'm just going to add some runes there. There it is. But it's not done. There's going to be layers and other stuff to really kind of drive it home. But he, for now, is done until the next thing I got to do. Okay, this guy's got a big old leering shield, complete with tongue action. Lickety split. So his eyeballs, of course, he needs to have some glowing green eyeballs. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Glowing green eyeballs. Generally, if you have glowing green eyeballs, you're really not socially very appropriate, I would say, perhaps. Glowing green eyeballs are a telling indicator that you might not be the ideal candidate for a given job.
We're eyeball shaming now?
Yeah, well, you know, just saying.
I mean, yeah.
Just saying, if you show up to work with like flaming green eyes, you know, that might indicate that you might need to take some sick leave.
Maybe, yeah, you're not wrong there.
Yeah.
A little bit of inflamed jaundice.
Yeah, we're talking, you know, serious, like, green. This guy's whole belly is a face. Look at that. That's a... Oh, my goodness gracious me. What will these Orgoth think of next? This guy's also shorter than the other models, so he may have some kind of Napoleonic complex where he's just really, really badass. So anyway, that could be true. Okay, there's his eyeballs, glowing eyes, check. Oh, wipe that off. All right. Okay. Did a little bit of excess there, so I'm just going to take that off. You know, one quick trick when you mess up with acrylics, some of the time, a good deal of the time, you can erase the mistake if you're quick enough, and you just wipe the darn thing off. Okay, I got his eyeballs. Now I got to get his sword, his little bendy sword. And it really doesn't have anything on it that's going to like absorb and take, but that's okay. I can squiggle little runey things on there anyway. Ancient runes, ancient doom runes. Oh no, they're all the way down this. See? It comes out like ancient runes. You just kind of squiggle around. Don't do too much in any given area. And you've got the Orgoth rune sword. Yes. We take you and we put you in our sword. Then we smack other people. I am already starting to get a little bit of drying action on my green. I'm going to have to make a little bit more of that green. But yeah, I got my little rune action on his blade here. Okay. All right, he's got that green glow. And now we're gonna, he keeps falling over backwards. He needs to practice his stability. Okay, I need to make more.
This is your new detail.
That's kind of what I wound up with at this phase, but I still have dry brushing and I got some other things that I got to add here. If I remember, it was a little bit of white in here, so I can't forget that. There's a little tiny bit of white. Never pollute your white with other colors because then you will get something that's not white. It is so hard. It is so hard to get back to white. White, black, those colors are so pure. You know, I always protect them in my I don't get them mixed with other stuff. You really don't want to mix them with anything else. Unless you're making a color, but you can pollute it by sticking the wrong paint, obviously, paintbrush in there. All right, he's got a big old sword. Oh my goodness, lots and lots of soul action in there, so I'm just going to make it all solid in there. And then little runey, dancy runes down the rest of the middle. And then he's got little eyeballs too. He's got little skulls in there. Wow. Okay, little skull. Eyeball 1. So check. Eyeball 2. Check. Okay, we got eyeball there. Oh, this guy's creepy now. Alright, big old sword. He's also got little faces on his armor. He's got a big old skull right in his crotch. It's like a skull codpiece crotch piece. It's very Clockwork Orange. Remember the gang from Clockwork Orange? They had little, I don't know, clown faces where their crotches were. I remember that from the book. I don't know why. But yeah, if you go around with basically, you know, a skull right on your crotch, I think that sends a message too. It's not really a message of tolerance. See what other skull? Oh, little skulls over here. Give them all a little bit of skull. And then over here. Skull. Skull. The old Viking drinking statement was skål, because they used to drink to celebrate their victories out of the skulls of their victims with the top cut off. That was like a cup. So they would basically, you know, they would toast each other and drink out of the skulls of their enemies. I think the Orgoth are down with that. That's, you know, that's kind of right up their alley. Okay, I'm looking around. Do I see any more skulls? I see his shield has got these little furrows in it. I can take advantage of that. I can put little green glows in there, and then I can quickly wipe it. Look at that refused wipe technique. Super easy, super quick, but it adds a little bit of detail there. Okay, I think I got all his skulls. Shoulders. Oh, nope, missed skull. There's a skull on each shoulder plate. Okay, so no, spoke too soon. A little bit more skull action. Does other shoulder plate have a skull? Don't see it. Okay, all right. I'm seeing some holidays though. Look at all these holidays. What was I doing? I was thinking I was going really fast, I guess. Okay, so now I'm gonna cheat. Yeah, I don't want to do the same old. I'm gonna paint everything, then I'm gonna stain everything. No, I'll just go to a darker metallic hue. This is called pig iron. Little piggies. Well, there's a race called the Pharaoh, and they're basically swine. And these little swine, they have like weapons that are made out of this pig iron. Get it? Pig iron, pigs, pig metal. Anyway. So put a little bit of this down there, and it should blend pretty well with the actual colors we got going on. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, it sure does. I made a bunch of different holidays on this guy, but they're quickly concealed. It's really nice to have a full repertoire of paint available. So again, I'm just basically touching up where I had a holiday or two, or three, or four. Oops.
We're going to go into another break for just a minute. I'm going to stop us right there and
Okay.
in just a moment.
Be back in a moment.